Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Morning Quarterback. We are three pastors who love ministry, leadership, and sports. It is great to be with you today. Dad, do you have any words to say to Adam Denny today? What do you got to say for him?
4 words. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, Adam, today's the day you get to eat crow. You got anything to say back to him?
I had a tough sports weekend. Almost every team I cheer for lost, and then those dang Dallas Cowboys blew out the Vikings. And, it's been a tough weekend, but I've got some things to say, so we'll talk about it.
All of Adam's teams lost. Everyone. We can just go down the list. And so last week we were in just utter shame after we got embarrassed by the Packers. But today, Adam, it is your turn to eat crow. But we are, there's a good part today, Adam, for you, is that we get to have your friend Dr. Jordon Willard on from First Baptist Church, Weddington. Jordan, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. I too am feeling it on this Monday. My sports team's atrocious over the weekend. Yeah.
So not a very thankful week for you guys. So being that Adam's got to eat a little bit of crow today, because, when our Cowboys suffer, he just rubs it in, and he's made several bets. Dad, I think you might have won a bet last week going back with Adam. But, Adam, we'll start with you. What was your football weekend reactions? Take it away, sir.
Well, there was a lot of good football on this weekend. I didn't get a chance to watch all of it by any means, but just watching TCU almost lose, watching Michigan almost lose, seeing Tennessee lose to South Carolina in the fashion that they did, kind of ending their season, what could have been a great run for them. That hurt. But what stood out to me, and maybe I'm just a victim of the moment, I was texting you guys last night, the Golden Boy in Kansas City did it again. He won another late close game on prime time. And I think the Chiefs and Mahomes have separated themselves from the rest of the NFL. And that goes for not just their team and their schedule, but I think Mahomes, if the season ended today, is the NFL MVP runaway. Someone predicted that. It wasn't me. But the Chiefs look good right now. I know there was a lot of college stuff going on, but I'm still in mourning. My Tar Heels lost and my Flames lost. And my Panthers are still terrible. And I think I'm going to lose in fantasy too. So I thought about calling in sick today, but the worst of it was watching the Cowgirls just blow out the Minnesota Vikings. So I know you guys will touch on that. So you guys go ahead.
Adam sounds like Job in sports world right now. The Lord is just putting him through the ringer, testing his faithfulness. Dad, what stuck out to you this football weekend?
Well, first I just want to say, those cheeseburgers, Adam, I'll take a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of mustard, and those French fries, Adam. Can you send me some? Make sure you put some cheese on that. I've been thinking about that all day. So
and he said that was Five Guys burgers too, not
Five
the
Guys.
McDoubles, like Five Guys. He said
Five Guys. So that means I get a whole bag of it.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam, just go ahead and send it my way. I'll take it, and I appreciate it. Thank you. No, listen, 40-3. It was a beat down. The best part about this is everybody said, and we've been talking about it. They have a good offense, they have a good defense, and if they can ever put it together, they could be formidable. Well, listen, they put it together and they were more than formidable. So I want to see them. I want to be honest. I want to see them be consistent. I think they are really finding themselves. I think our offensive coordinator is finding themselves. Dak looks very smart. He was very clean. The offensive line played good. And so I don't want to get too crazy, but no, it's too late. I'm crazy for the Cowboys right now. I think they put the NFL on notice.
Say it. Yeah, say it.
Say it with your chest.
Yeah, on notice. But I'll look. They are on par with the Niners. They are on par with the Eagles. They are a Super Bowl contender. I think if you take away the bias of the Cowboys, everyone will at least say that they are true contenders. If they can put it all together, they can beat anybody. Are they going to win the Super Bowl? It's a crapshoot. But, outside of Kansas City, they're all kind of clustered together. And we saw last week with them playing the Titans, they kind of muddied the water and barely got through with a secondary quarterback. So they too can be beat. So this year is up for grabs, and the Cowboys are right in the middle of it.
I got to agree. Jordan, what stuck out to you, sir?
Well, I'm right there with Adam. Certainly, I sympathize with him. So I'm diehard Carolina Panthers fan, diehard UNC Tar Heels fan, and our Tar Heels, they dropped a horrible loss there on Saturday, and I knew it was coming. Drake May, all he had to do was have a mediocre game, and that's basically all we have. He's like our weapon with Josh Downs, and they had mediocre games, and so that was a disaster there. Here in Charlotte, there is no hope whatsoever among anyone for the Carolina Panthers. It is there aren't words, right? I mean, everyone is walking around pessimistic. I'll tell you this: it's this bad that when we played the Falcons last week, the Thursday night game, tickets to that game were like $24. I have never seen in my life, in my adult life, a ticket to an NFL game for $24. Wow. And granted, it was raining that night, but still, I mean, it's that bad. I went to a game when we played the 49ers at home, and it was like 65-35. Niners fans everywhere. It was so bad. And they dropped another one this weekend, which doesn't surprise me, but I am quite hopeless on the football side. The only little hope that I have is my beloved Carolina Tar Heel basketball team. They're showing up, and like every Carolina fan, this time of year, it's usually a little bit earlier than now, but it's like, okay, we're moving on. We're moving on to basketball.
Yep.
Hey, Joseph, it's okay. It's okay because, Baker Mayfield's back, and he got one game under his belt. But Adam, he got the one game. He's going to be fine. He's going to bring that team back. I mean, Baker Mayfield. So, Adam, rest assured, good times are coming. Sunshine's coming your way. Man. Baker's going to be healthy next week. Watch out.
All right, listen. I've had enough. Let me. Let me go full prosperity preacher and speak truth to power. Let me speak truth to power. Every year at about this time, you Cowboy fans get a little bit excited because you win a game, and it's usually after you lost the game, and everybody's like, oh, see, what we were saying back in August is true. They're contenders. But guess what? Recent history tells us it's all going to pan out just the way it's been scheduled. You guys are going to get hyped up. You're going to go into the playoffs, and you're going to get smacked in the first round, just like every single year.
Wait. Are you saying that they're not going to win a playoff game this year?
They will not win a playoff game.
Okay.
Hey,
I've got the last 25 years telling me this happens every single year.
Adam has been utterly wrong because he predicted, and Jordan, he laughed at me when I said the Cowboys are going 11-5. 10-6 at worst. He laughed and he bet cheeseburgers, and then he brought it up in a group text after Dak went down. He was like, ho, ho, ho. So he said they were going to go 8-9. So just putting that out there. And then this time last year, Dad, do you remember him saying we had some big win? And he said, man, if the Cowboys play like this, they're going to the Super Bowl. So he falls into the trap with us, okay? But anyway,
I think he's a secret Cowboy fan.
I won't let my bias show. But hey, the Chiefs, okay. Brandon Staley, you knew what was going to happen. Why would you give Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers the ball with 1:30 left? I have no clue. That was like head scratcher. He's going to, mark my words, he will be fired at the end of the year. They're going to go for Sean Payton. Sean Payton is either going to come to Dallas, or if we make it to the NFC Championship, Mike McCarthy, we might let him keep his job. The Giants, they have come back down to earth, which is great because we play them this weekend on Thanksgiving. We hadn't won a Thanksgiving Day game in 3 years, so keep the train rolling. And, man, the Jets, man, they had so much promise. 6-3, and then their quarterback just can't get it together. And then even worse, in the press conference, he can't even take responsibility. They said, "Do you think you let your defense down?" No. And so, just so sad.
He had negative 21 passing yards in the second half. Like, how do you even do that? It's crazy.
2 yards of offense in the second half. 2 yards.
Wow. So Wild Football Weekend. Well, hey, just to kind of switch it up, we love sports. We love nostalgia. So Adam came up with a real good question. And Adam, I'm going to come to you first. And this one's a hard one because there's so many options. But Adam, what is your favorite historic sports moment in recent history?
Yeah, so I set this question up. I teed it up, and I hope me and Jordon agree. And it's still so fresh, but in my opinion, the greatest rivalry in sports is Carolina and Duke.
Yes. Yeah.
And it just so happened that UNC went on a magical run last March and made it to the Final Four after beating Coach K in his very last year. And for the very first time in, I think, 150 years, whatever it is, close to that, we played Duke in the NCAA tournament in the Final Four. Coach K's very last potential game goes down to the wire. Caleb Love hits a 3 with like 26 seconds left and just took the air out of the building. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to go public with this. I cried. my emotions that whole week, I would just let out this big sigh. Like 4 days before the game, my wife would say, "It's gonna be okay."
He didn't even care if they lost in the championship.
I don't. It feels like we need to hang a banner because it felt like we won a championship. Yeah. And that I've got that picture on the wall. It is excellent. It's always the trump card. It's always going to be the trump card. That situation with the circumstances is never going to happen again in our lifetime. So Caleb Love, my friends.
Wow, you are such a homer. All right, Jordon. Even though he's trying to guilt you into it, what is your favorite historic sports moment in recent history?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, and I would add to that, if you can put two of them together, it's the Final Four defeat of Duke and the win at Cameron Indoor Stadium. So Adam, you spoke a little bit to the Final Four, but it's so funny because we sort of forget about what happened at Cameron Indoor Stadium, that, there's this huge sort of pageant that they're going to crown Coach K. He brings in 100 and some former players. They put them right there, like where the student section usually is. And what ESPN2, they had the Coach K cam. It was just all on him the entire time. And I just got the new book that Adam Lucas wrote on the 2021-22 season. And in the chapter that chronicles that rivalry week leading up to it, the story goes that on like a Monday or Tuesday of that week, there was a media meeting, and they're trying to figure out how are we going to, put this out to the world. I guess that's where they made the decision where they're going to do this Coach K Cam thing. And in the middle of the meeting, someone just raises the possibility. They said, well, what if Carolina wins? What are we going to do then? And everybody in the room laughed and just put it to the side. Somehow word got back to Coach Davis, and then he takes that to practice that week on like a Monday or Tuesday and told the players, this is what's happening out there. The media is laughing at you. There is zero chance that they are giving us to win this game. That week, a lot of people forget, Carolina didn't have a game that whole week. So they had the whole week to prepare for Duke. Duke had like a Wednesday game or something like that. So they couldn't even start to get focused on the game until like Wednesday night or Thursday. And the whole week, that's what Coach Davis was pumping into these players. And we went in there and we spanked them. And for the last time that Coach K would coach in that building, we sent him out with a big fat L. That with the Final Four win, there is nothing. The only thing that could ever top that is if somehow Carolina and Duke met in the national championship and Duke got the win. But that's not going to happen. I mean, it's just not.
And I would have to say it'd have to be the end of a 40-year tenured coach. And like you said, it's not going to happen.
It's just not going to happen.
That
right?
too in Hubert Davis's very first year. So that's pretty good. But, Dad, I think they got a little sports bias. I'm a Carolina fan, but, man, I don't know. That's a stretch, boys. If I had to pick my favorite Carolina moment, I mean, you got the Rashad McCants, Raymond Felton, Sean May team. You got the Hansborough team, Ty Lawson. Oh, that was epic. So we could go on a whole soapbox about Carolina. But, Adam, I'm actually surprised. Dad, I'll pass it to you in a minute. But here's the three that popped out in my head. I don't know what you how you deem recent history. I thought you were going to say Texas versus USC. That was very historic, iconic. Is that your moment? All right, Dad, I'll set you up because that's not mine. So go ahead and tell us why that's yours.
Well, it's kind of hard because I want to say the Cowboys with the Super Bowls, but all their Super Bowl wins were blowouts.
Hey, we said recent.
Hey, that's recent for me. I'm old.
I was 3.
That's history. That's ancient history.
I will say the Texas game. Is that recent enough for y'all? The Texas USC game? Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason being is from the very beginning, there was a collision course from one side to the other, the way they played football. You had Texas, and then you had Hollywood. You had Glam. You had Matt Leinart. And at the time, he was the golden boy. They had the coach. They got the running back. They're going for the second win in a row. And there was a buildup that the media was hoping that these two teams would collide. And to actually see it happening before your very eyes, and then to actually see it, I remember the goosebumps and the anticipation throughout the nation. And really, I don't think that there's been such a buildup since that big. And then to see the game happen and the way it played out to the very end, and then seeing Vince Young do what only Vince Young could do and will his team against a loaded, essentially they were an NFL roster. That's how good USC was. And to see him will his team for that fourth down hold that USC could have won the game. Texas held them. Vince gets the ball. He takes it down for the win. And, seconds left, roses everywhere. It was just an iconic moment of a buildup that lived up to what everybody thought was going to happen, happened. And by the way, it just happened to be the team that I wanted to win because, again, it was Hollywood, it was Glam, California is the best, Southern California. And so that was just an iconic moment for the nation. And of course, for me personally, because I wanted them to lose so badly. And to see it happen I still remember that moment like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that was an epic moment. And two, remember they played, USC had to play Notre Dame with Brady Quinn. Mm-hmm. And they let the grass grow, and that whole season was magical. Another thing that popped in my head that was similar, not saying this is an iconic moment, but was the Cam Newton year. Very, very similar to Vince Young. And obviously the national championship game wasn't as polarizing. But another one that popped in my head, and I'm not a fan of either of these teams, was when you say 28-3, you think what?
Patriots
and the Falcons, man. That, I mean, for all the wrong reasons. And that just cursed that franchise and the coach and Julio and Matt Ryan and all of them just boom. And then that just catapulted the GOAT, Brady. That was one. And obviously Red Sox, Yankees.
Hey, Joseph,
the classic.
Another iconic moment was when the Cowboys won their third Super Bowl in 4 years. Remember that? That was just a great. Adam, you remember that when they beat Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
4 years. I just want to make sure you remember that.
Yeah, when Baby Joe was still in pull-ups.
I wasn't in pull-ups yet. I was in diapers. So, Adam, the moment that the Cowboys, in my lifetime, win the Super Bowl, I might have a moment like you did, and I might cry. But we hadn't been to the Super Bowl in, I think, 23 years. So, Israel was in the wandering the desert for 40 years. So we're halfway home.
Yeah, that you keep comparing the Cowboys to Israel, and we need to find out your eschatology to find out that's a good thing or a bad thing here. So.
Jordan, we always preach, baby. The wise men followed the star. That's our strong theology, and we're sticking to it. So.
Hey, I gotta share something yesterday. Completely switching gears here, but The service prior to Thanksgiving at our church, we have a tradition where it's the only time in the year we do just kind of open mic testimony, just a quick, anyone in the congregation can stand up and give thanks. And so yesterday we were going around doing that. And just for context sake, I went to the Liberty game. They were hosting Virginia Tech. My church is about 50% Tech fans. A lot of them went there. A lot of them are like legacy family Tech people. So anyway, they had taken it pretty easy on me, all the guys in the church all morning. But as we're going around doing this, just stand up and share something you're thankful for, we had a guest, an older lady, who said something she was thankful for, and then she said, "And go Hokies." So when I get up to the pulpit, I kindly rebuked her, and it was a funny moment. But hey, I do just want to say this, that with all the stuff going on with football this past weekend, the stuff that happened in Charlottesville was just tragic, and I know that was heavy on the minds of many people. And it was good for me to see. I was at that game, Liberty and Virginia Tech honor, and that's a pretty heated rivalry, Virginia and Virginia Tech here. Just to see them honor those families, very tragic situation that happened out there with those three young men.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, with that said, fellas, we're going to shift gears to the second part of our podcast where we talk a little bit about ministry and leadership. But before we do that, Pastor Jordon, there's 3 questions with all the different pastors that we've had on the pod that we asked him. One, would you tell us about your family and your church? Okay, the second one, I think you've already answered, your sports bias. So then you can skip to the third one, was what is your biggest preaching blunder? So take it away, sir.
Yeah. So my family and I, so my wife, Veronica, and I, we have been married for a little bit over 11 years. We have 2 children. Our daughter is 8 years old, getting ready to turn 9. And our son is 6 years old. And so, we live right outside of Charlotte, sort of a suburb of Charlotte called Weddington. And we have been here for about 2 years now, First Baptist Church of Weddington. And FBC Weddington definitely was and is in a need for revitalization. And all I've ever known as a pastor is revitalization. I pastored for about 10 years out in Eastern North Carolina in more rural settings, and learned a lot out there about revitalization. And so the Lord moved us over here a couple of years ago, and he's been very good and very kind to us. Our area is just ripe for gospel advancement. We've been seeing just a hunger for gospel-centered preaching, discipleship, just things that, when we read the scriptures, it's like, well, this is what the Bible says we should be about, right? And so we've been seeing a lot of that, a lot of people coming to faith in Christ and being baptized, people moving into the area that's looking for a church that's just preaching the Bible, praying together, singing good congregational songs together. And so God's been really good and kind, and we're thankful for all that he's doing. My sports bias, obviously, UNC basketball. No one will ever be able to convince me that they aren't the greatest basketball program in the history of college sports. And then number 3, biggest preaching blunder. At my first church, oh goodness, this was about, 10, 11 years ago. First church I was a senior pastor of. It was one of those mornings, man. Rural ministry is, it's got its unique challenges. One of those challenges is when, you have like 2 or 3 people that don't show up, the responsibilities often fall upon the pastor. And there was one Sunday morning where we didn't have anybody to play an instrument. We didn't have one of the deacons that was supposed to do like the offering prayer, and another deacon that was supposed to do another prayer. Like all of those people didn't show up. They were sick or something like that. And so like, it just all fell on my shoulders. And so like, I'm leading the music on the guitar, I'm doing every single prayer. And by the time, I get to the sermon, I mean, my brain is just exhausted. And so I'm preaching the Lord's Prayer. So I'm like, well, that's, very familiar to me and familiar to everybody else. There came this point in the sermon where, it's about 3/4 of the way through it. And the brain just started to shut down. I mean, it was like, it was not, what was up here just wasn't flowing out. And got to this one particular part where I'd formulated a thought and it was about to come out, but like the thought formulated, but it just wouldn't come out. And I tried so hard to like go back and restate what I just said so that it would like naturally just flow. But like the flow was never there. Yep. And I was stuttering. I mean, just fumbling, bumbling. It was awful to the point that I just had to stop. And everybody's like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? It just sounded ridiculous. And I just stopped and said, I'm sorry. I've got to this, I don't know what to do. There's this, my brain is just gone. Right. And like, I didn't even think of like a funny, like winsome thing to say, like, if you ever needed a proof that your pastor's not perfect, like right now is the time, and like kind of break the ice, but like nothing came to mind. And like, I just sort of wrapped the sermon up and like, oh gosh, Lord, please work in some way through this. And so
that's when you get in the car and you're like, babe, I already know. Don't even tell me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, we appreciate you sharing that. That's funny. People have no idea what it's like being up there, and when your brain gets off or distracted, it is tough to get it back on. But that's funny. Well, we appreciate you being on here. With it being the week of Thanksgiving, we're going to talk a little bit about thankfulness. Adam, I'm going to pass this question to you first, and then Jordan, I'll come your way. Adam, what's the most encouraging thing a church member has said to you?
Yeah, so by God's grace and in His wisdom, I've always had the privilege to pastor established churches, most of which with deep traditions. And I've shared before, we just celebrated 190 years here. So in that context, there's just always been a lot of older people, seniors in my churches. And my very first church, I have to say too, and I'll be brief, but my very first church, I was a brand new pastor. I was going through a lot of changes because I came from nothing but all I knew was megachurch life. That's all I'd ever been exposed to. I don't think I'd ever darkened the door of anything we don't consider a megachurch until I became a pastor out there in Eastern North Carolina. And what would happen is, I've got all this energy and I want to see all these people come to Christ, but there's only 30 people. And so after about 6 months, I'm really worn down as far as like my enthusiasm, just being upbeat about the gospel. And so I would start like just sulking and wallowing in self-pity after sermons. And this little lady, she must have been 4.5 feet tall, 60, 70 pounds or something. She was in her 90s. She would always make a point to come up to me after the service. And she would say, I just want you to know that you remind me, sound so much like Billy Graham. And it stunned me the first time she said it. And the first thing I thought was, lady, you're 92. You can barely hear or see. You don't know what you're saying. But that really, really encouraged me. And I know that I sound nothing like him. And she was being kind. But it just showed me early in ministry how much to value the people that do go out of their way to say something to uplift you. And then something very similar happened just yesterday. And I don't have time to go into the detail, and for the sake of anonymity, I can't, but you just have to know there's a lot of situations in my mind surrounding a moment when one of our dear older ladies came to me and said, you remember that sermon you preached? And, when anybody asks you that, you're like, no, I have no idea. I can't, recall last week, but it was about a month ago. She said, I love that sermon so much that I took my notes and the outline from it, and I used it to write a letter to one of her family members that was right in that situation. And, it was, I can't share all of the details about why it touched me so much, but man, God used that in my life. And it's not uncommon in our church for people to come up and say nice things, but we ain't allowed to cry on the Sunday morning quarterback, so I'm gonna stop. But just God used that in my life so much, and never underestimate, what a simple word of encouragement might do. Galatians 6, I think it's verse 6, talks about everyone who hears the word be sure that you share it with those that teach it to you and all good things from it. And it was just a sweet moment yesterday. Thankful for my church.
That's good. Jordon, what pops in your mind as something that's an encouraging moment that you have been told from a church member?
Actually, yeah, it's kind of like with Adam. It's something that happened just yesterday, to be honest with you. It's just so fresh on my mind. So I just last week, I finished up preaching a series through the 10 Commandments. And a couple Sundays ago, I preached on the 10th commandment on coveting. And we have a pastoral intern for student ministries that I'm discipling, really developing him, and he's getting his feet wet in ministry. And it's just a really awesome thing to see. And he's also got a little bit of musical talent, and so he's tried to get plugged into our music team. And he's just always had this desire to play the drums. And so he got like one of these electronic sets of drums, and he's just been trying to work with it. And yesterday actually was his first Sunday that he played, with the worship team, and it was really neat. But here's the encouraging thing. So he's been looking for an acoustic set of drums. He thinks it would be better for him and better for the church. And so he's been looking all over the place. And so he found this set on Facebook Marketplace, and this guy in Charleston, South Carolina. This is, several hours from where I'm live in Charlotte. It was like a $1,500 set of drums, and he only wanted $400 for it. And Nathan, our pastoral intern, he's young. He just got married, and so he was like, oh, man, I don't have $400. There's no way I could do that, And so he thought about it, and then like he messaged the guy back, and he's like, I can't, I don't have $400. And he's just told him, like, I'm just starting out in marriage, just starting out in ministry. And then the guy was like, oh, you're in ministry? And he's like, yeah, I'm in student ministry. And he's like, oh, well, I wish I would have known that. He's like, hey, instead of 400, maybe just give me like 300. And, but here's the thing, Nathan was really struggling in his heart because of the sermon that I preached on coveting. And so he's like, am I just like, do I need this? Am I just like lusting after this thing here? And like, he was really conflicted. And so he's going back and forth, and he told the guy, he was like, I got $200. That's all I can do. And the guy's like, okay, that's fine. So drive down here. So they go down there, and he's talking to the guy, and he ends up telling him that, I'm so thankful that I found these drums. It's going to be a really, big blessing for our church. And the guy that had the drums, he was like, well, wait a minute, you're going to use the drums like in the worship? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, well, you just have it. He's like, I don't want you to pay. And as Nathan is telling me this, he's like, man, your sermon was so deeply lodged into my heart that I didn't want to commit this sin. And as I was struggling with that, it's like the Lord blessed my wrestling with the word, and granted that to me. And man, just to see, one, how the word is at work in your church members' lives, especially this young brother that's just getting started out in marriage and ministry, and then to see the Lord honor that and to bless that, man, that was like if nothing else encouraging happens for the next year, like that'll be my reservoir of grace that I can go back to and be grateful for.
That's super cool. Dad, I was thinking about shifting your question a little bit, but because you are by nature an encourager, and normally you are the person for a lot of people that does that or gives them a word, I've never thought, I was like kind of intrigued. So what is something for you that has been impactful? Because, as pastors, we get compliments a lot, not like saying that in a boastful way, but, oh, good sermon, or hey, thanks for doing my wedding, or hey, thanks that. But for you, what's been one that stuck out or resonated with you and was impactful?
Well, I guess it was probably about 2 months ago, actually. We were having a Wednesday night Bible study. We were talking about, prayer requests, and one of the guys at church asked me how I felt. Right now, we're having a very big influx of church. I too came to a church about 7 years ago and was doing a revitalization, and we have really grown tremendously numerically, but even most important spiritually.
Mm.
And one of the guys asked me how I felt about that, where we were from the very beginning. It was tough sledding at the very beginning, and how all that transpired, what was going through my heart and mind. And it came out of nowhere. We're sitting in a Bible study, and that started a conversation for the next 30 minutes. And we were talking about all the new folks that been coming for really the last 3 years. It kind of started right before COVID, and then we took a small break during COVID, and like everybody else, but it picked right back up again. And I was listening to some of those folks that had been there for years and years, and there was a few of them there that shared there was a moment in the church's history shortly before I got there that they went through some difficult times, and there was a moment where they almost threw in the towel. And so they're sharing with me and everybody else there that they almost threw in the towel. And then they said, now we look around and we've got kids coming out of our ears. I mean, so many kids, so many new families. And they said, we were so close to throwing the towel. We're so glad that we didn't. And it was so impactful to me because I got to see and experience the joy that people that got together to say, hey, look, we're not going to close. There may be other churches that have closed. We're not going to close. We're going to fight. The few of us here, we're going to come together. We're going to pray. And we want to be relevant again in our community. And to kind of watch and to hear them and hear their heart and see their excitement that now there's so many people and kids all over the place. That was so encouraging to me. But the encouragement came from seeing other people that had been through this long journey now being so excited because, there's kids running everywhere and there's young families everywhere. And so, even though it was directed to me, it wasn't really about, hey, this to you, to me. The encouragement came from people that held the line, did not throw in the towel, did not give up. And now they're seeing the fruits of a very difficult journey of labor. And so that really stuck out to me, and in a powerful way that I won't forget anytime soon.
Very cool. Very cool. I think, too, you guys can speak to this with the different seasons of ministry. Different things are encouraging in different ways. And so we're just in a season of affirmation, whether that be preaching or leadership or just personal investment. And not only for me, but for my wife. And so that's been really cool. If I couldn't sum it down just to one, but just, constant affirmation and different things. And so, Jordon, as we kind of wrap up and coming out of Pastor Appreciation Month into Thanksgiving, there's somebody out there today, and you were to advise them on one way they could encourage their pastor, what would you tell them?
Oh gosh, I would tell them a lot of things, but a few that come to mind. Like I said a while ago, that Nathan, came to me and explained to me like how the word was at work in his heart and how my sermon really, really impacted him. That's the kind of stuff that I really love to hear in ministry, right? And not just, a good sermon, right? But hey, here's how your sermon really ministered to my heart. This is how it challenged me. And I want to encourage you with that. And so, yeah, I would say that. The other thing is to encourage your pastor in self-care and taking care of himself. Spiritually, mentally, physically. I know a lot of pastors, and I'm sure you guys can fall into this category as well, over the last 2.5, 3 years through COVID. That probably took like 20 years off of our lives. And, a lot of pastors I know, including myself, we need to be told, that, hey, it's okay to rest. It's okay to, guard your day off. It's okay to go on vacation and not feel guilty about, doing that. It's okay to, retreat for a while. And so helping your pastor take care of himself is another way to bless him.
That's good. I have a few friends, and they'll say, "Hey, can we talk?" Or, "Hey, can we get lunch?" And by nature, my first response is everything okay? And they're like, yeah. Like, well, I'm like, sorry, it's like PTSD, because most of the time when pastors hear that, they think, oh boy, what is somebody going to complain about? What are they not happy with? And so wherever you're at out there, be an encouragement to your pastor in this season of Thanksgiving. Jordon, we appreciate having you on, sir. It's been a good time, and we will definitely keep up with you. Adam, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving and you enjoy watching our Cowboys, all right?
Yeah, I'm going to have a great Thanksgiving when the Cowboys lose.
Hey, you got cheeseburgers on that one, Adam?
No, don't do it, Adam. No more. He's out.
I have some leftover stuffing and turkey.
It's going to be a big win, Adam. It's going to be a big win. You'll turn the TV off early that day, Adam.
All right, Adam's got to eat crow. Everybody have a great day, and we will see you next week.